in campus.
I think we know what happened to Levi from what happened last time.
Well, it's not even in this house anyway. Levi's here.
Hey, Christopher,
I'm
if
saying
you
like
could
his heart.
We do need to stay.
move yourself slightly out of front.
I meant his heart.
Christopher today.
Yes.
Frames, but not like. Seems to think of something more.
That's definitely in frame, but okay.
I'm looking at the
Did
camera.
you see him?
Ah!
Your dad?
Is it recording? It's recording. Is it recording? Wait, did that? Is it? I had this record.
Could I
Oh, it
be any more
I just got on
No,
camera.
I can only be.
I caught you on camera. I caught you. Kaden, it's
I need to cut literally all
Yes.
of this
I don't
out.
No, do not cut this out, Smith.
Future me, cut all.
Don't cut it out.
Elijah needs it.
No, don't cut it out, Future Smith. Just leave it there.
I have soft hair.
Literally
Spray paint.
I'm gonna tell you.
I would have
No,
thought that
I
your hair was
exfoliate my scalp
Why is your
because I have bad dandruff, so I just go.
Why is your scalp so red? Oh,
So that's what we just said.
Oh, sorry. I came in
okay.
halfway through. My bad, guys. I came in halfway
I really hope I wasn't in the way for that, but I think I was. Oh, I think I was in the way for that.
It's not even. Oh, it is on.
It is recording.
Yeah, but I was standing right here.
I hate you.
I didn't know you were gonna fall off.
I did that for the bit, and it wasn't even on.
Don't worry, the sound was there, and you can see me doing this.
No. Go ahead, Christopher. Take a seat.
That is just that for like the video.
Oh,
Yeah.
Spanish.
Oh yeah, I know Spanish. I'm not good at it.
Bonjour.
French is a stupid language.
No.
You're
It
a
is.
stupid language.
Say bird in French.
Bird.
I don't know, bird.
Loazo.
Yeah, spell it.
L apostrophe O O I S E A U.
It's so weird. It's such a
You're
strange
weird.
pronunciation.
Yeah, but think about that.
Pronunciation.
You're weird.
Well, the word for cow is like
Weirdo.
so.
Vache. VACHE.
Why do you know French so fast?
I took 1 year of French in middle school, 4 years in high school, 2 years in college, and Shelly's fluent. I'm also terrible at French. Yeah, she's fluent in French and Spanish.
I'm Spanish.
What a queen.
Shelly's a lot smarter than I am, like a whole lot smarter than I am.
I'm an Icelandic.
She also like learned Arabic in a year. Yeah, when she lived
Oh,
in
Arabic?
Yeah, she
No,
lived
I
in
said-
Morocco for a year. Like picked up functional Arabic too.
My font for my dime is in Arabic.
She's a lot smarter than I am. Okay.
Did we actually?
You're
I
spicy
don't think we did.
Yes, I am.
Wait, why are you so spicy? Why is everybody so spicy this week? Like the Trump is literally threatening my
No, you're
life.
like,
You're
oh,
in, you're,
it's
in
like,
a, you're in a spicy mood today.
I was like,
am.
You would. You're what?
No, because Smith, they actually threatened me. The Trump is threatening. Like when you're studying drill, they're like, I'm gonna beat you up if you mess it up. I'm gonna beat your. I
Oh, they
can't say
learned.
that."
They learned that from me.
Well, they said some things I can't repeat, but when I was painting, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, apparently the trumpets are seceding from the band.
We're on a rebellion.
Well, I just don't like it when I get
I
threatened.
think it's
not
about time
fun.
for
I'll just-
war.
I'm going to
Yeah, they're
practice
making
today.
a constitution.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Can
they're
we-
calling their religion trumpetism.
That's so basic.
Why do I feel like?
Number one.
We the trumpets.
Wait,
Melody.
Wait, what?
We need markers.
We need
I
markers.
will use
Oh, get
mine.
'em.
Yeah.
Delightful.
That's what happened.
E.
Oh, it was
Give me Thank you. Thank you.
That's mine.
I'm removing your bag here. Why? Because it's in my way. Why?
1,
I don't know why you in my way.
Wait,
Three.
what's the no?
4.
It doesn't work. Sorry, guys.
No.
Da, 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 da.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No Dr. Pepper today.
They were out of Dr. Pepper at the machine.
I always get
It's that barbecue water.
I thought
love
Coke's
it.
the
That's my
barbecue.
favorite. Well, not my favorite actually.
Could you play it one more time, sir?
Oh, yeah.
I thought you started called Dr. Pepper the barbecue.
Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. 1, 2, ready, and. Number 2. F. 1, 2, ready, and.
It could be like
1,
Love
2,
that.
ready, and. Two, ready, and.
No.
Stress.
7.
Uno más, por favor.
Sure. 2, ready, and.
This is not right at all.
G is the first note here. 1, 2, ready, and.
Oh, those ones are harder.
I like everyone just aggressively humming.
heavy metal.
Smith, you know what I think we should do today instead of the lesson?
Could you play it
had
one more
today?
time?
We should teach my improv lesson, and then we can teach Reagan guitar lesson.
We could do that.
I'm sure they're both brilliant.
Well, you even saw mine. Mine's pretty good.
Okay. 1, 2, ready,
Oh.
and. Oh, you get one more play. 1, 2, here we go. All right. Interval time.
Wait, hold on.
Excuse me.
Why is it not gone away?
Number the next one.
Oh, that's
Yeah, go ahead. Put whatever you were just putting.
There you go.
don't know the doorbell. I know now. Okay, and I'm not gonna forget it.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
that's what
The
you
next
said
one.
last time.
Oh, I know that. I think.
The confidence.
Da 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 da.
That's like the
Da,
best thing. Like
da,
the
da,
Da,
Rhythm time.
da,
Oh, I forgot about rhythm.
One measure plus one beat.
Oh, okay, you weren't here.
Oh, we gotta do like the
So,
ones and the
Basically,
pluses
You'll have
and
a
the
rhythm
E's and
and you have
A's.
to write
Do you
it down.
always do it like the fourth
we'll
one?
play a rhythm and then we write down the
For right
rhythm.
now.
That's actually not
Okay.
too bad. Yeah, it's really
Do you not know?
Are you gonna clap us rhythms
Just
like
put both.
melodies?
It's one of them.
It's what?
I think since it's, I think going up it's this, when you're going down it's that. Da, 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 da.
Okay, all of them.
Da.
There are three. All of them are one measure plus one beat.
Did he?
That was the shake it off. That was the shake it off
Wait.
thing.
I have a question.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, sorry.
For the third scale, did you start on F sharp or G?
G.
Yeah, you're right. Or not, right? I don't know if you're right.
First rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's so stupid. Yeah. Way to go, Smith. You're so smart.
I don't know how to write this.
Wait, I have a.
This is my.
Remember what I taught you. Remember your training. 1, 2, 3, 4.
4, 1. That was not okay.
Oh wait, yeah, I screwed up. 1, 2, ready, and
1, 2, 3, 4, 1. There you go. Well done. You learned.
Maybe you should watch the conductor, Smith.
Yes, man.
Yeah. Watch the drum major.
the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wait, I'm gonna need you to do it one more time.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's a very satisfying chunk to that sound.
There it is. Maybe we can make a drum out of that. We can probably make a drum.
Could you play it one more time?
Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ah! Yo, what's up?
Oh!
The last one.
Wait. Can I gotta write this in. I gotta write this in.
What were you doing before?
Oh, well, I did it the
1 E and a 2 E at.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
What?
I'm gonna need it one more
I
time.
got that, I think.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You didn't play the
I hope you don't have to be pretty, because mine are not pretty.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You anger,
Number 2
angry.
one more time.
That's making me angry.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Got it. Thank you.
Why did I do that?
I don't know why I decided to write it like this.
All right, see how you did. Number 1. E, G sharp,
A,
A,
E.
or
E,
C sharp.
no D.
D, C sharp.
B.
What?
E to B.
Oh, I hear it now. That's-
Yep, descending perfect fourth.
That's F. No,
What is this?
D.
D sharp.
D sharp.
Oh, what?
D sharp. We're in the key of E major, right?
Yeah, I just heard random things.
Right? That's T.
Mm.
D sharp. So E, G sharp, A, E, B. Well, I said that was a descending. It is a descending perfect fourth, but that is the fifth scale degree, so that's the dominant. B, D sharp, E. So the whole thing: do, mi, fa, do, so, ti, do. E, G sharp, A, E, B, D sharp, E. D sharp implied E. Okay. Anybody get it right? All the way?
I got
Almost.
like 3
I
or
got the
4
B wrong.
ones right.
Okay.
Okay.
Next, what was funky about this guy?
It was a
Minor
minor.
scale.
Minor. What was the first note?
F, F, F.
So, do you think it was an F minor?
Yes.
Yes.
It was an F minor.
A flat, D flat, E flat, G, right?
Outrageous.
F, A flat, C,
Oh.
B flat, A flat,
I got
G.
all those.
Wow.
Did you get it?
I guessed.
Did you get it?
I got the 2, the B flat, the
So, if you got the first part of it, do, me, so,
I think I got
F,
I
A
thought the
flat,
was
C,
wrong when I did that.
B flat, so fa, A flat, G. So it ended on re.
The A flat major.
Do, me, so, fa. Excuse me, me, re. Implying next note would be do. F, A flat, C, B flat, A flat, G. Not bad.
I think the da 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 da
Yeah.
helps with part of that.
Good. That's like the point. I'm
Whoa.
very glad that that is the case. I'm glad that you're thinking about stuff like that when you're hearing these things. That will lead you to Success Town. Okay. Number 3.
G, F sharp,
G, F sharp, E, D, C,
G.
G.
Oh my gosh, I got that one
Yep.
perfectly.
Do, ti, la, so, fa, do.
I mean,
Just-
technically, I did
skip to
do.
do.
I just thought it started on F sharp.
so you got it right, but you
Yeah.
started on the wrong note.
Well, yeah, but then Reagan told me.
Yeah, I was like,
started
that's
on G.
wrong. 'Cause
So
thought
I did F sharp, E, D, C, A, F sharp.
I see. You had the right melodic
Yeah.
contour is the name of that. You just didn't have the
That
right
was
starting
F
note.
Yeah.
F sharp, G, F sharp, E, D, C, G. Skipping the G.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4 was this boy.
Major second.
Major, ascending, major second. The first note is B. What's the second note?
C,
Second, so
C sharp.
C sharp. C sharp.
C sharp.
C sharp, not D flat. Why?
Because it has to have all the letters. You know, in my head, I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna be so smart. I'm gonna do the right one, but I did the wrong one.
Well, so in isolation, you technically could do that, right? You could say major second B to D flat, but that sounds more like it's supposed to be a third, right? Because B to D is a third, right? So you have to always give it context of a second. Some kind of B to some kind of C, right? B to C sharp. Good. How many of you got that one? Okay. I heard some of you sing that.
Yeah.
Do, re, mi,
That's all I
right?
That's
did.
what I
I
got.
couldn't do. I thought like
couldn't
I
figure
had
out
this
the
little
first
top one.
Yeah.
That's why I put
That's called success. Okay? If you have to sing something in response to what I play in order to get it right, that's
But it
correct.
worked 'cause I got-
Yeah, then who cares what you have to do as long as you get it. Some of you said it was a doorbell. So what is a doorbell?
Descending major third.
Descending major third. First note's B flat. What's the second note?
My mother.
B. No.
No, it's
G flat.
G flat. G flat. Okay?
G flat's a stupid note.
No, I'm sorry,
Not,
but
G
it
flat's
is.
awesome.
It is.
G flat is
Okay.
the right server note.
Descending perfect 4.
Descending perfect 4.
Heck yeah.
Technically, right?
You got 50%.
So first note is D.
I thought the G.
That'd be a perfect fifth.
What did you say?
F sharp.
That's a tritone.
G sharp.
Or a descending major second. Or
What's
sixth.
the first
F.
Okay, don't guess. Let's.
G sharp, G flat.
Okay, circle of fifths. Perfect
What
fourth.
was the
I
first?
know.
What's next? What's next? What's next to D? And A. Okay? D to A. Descending perfect fourth. A. D to A.
Oh, I thought it was ascending.
Descending. Yeah, if it's ascending, then yeah, that'd be G. But it's not, so it's A. Okay. Rhythm time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
2, 3, 4.
1.
2,
Good.
3, 4.
Okay.
I can count.
Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and
4.
1. There was no 4, right? 1,
There is a
2. Well, yeah. There's no note on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1,
2 and 3 and 1. Correct. And the last one. 1, 2, ready, and
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and
yay.
I got all of those.
Okay, I'm gonna start making the rhythms a lot nastier.
No, it's a downbeat, and I didn't like
There
it.
was no downbeat.
I know.
It's like leaving a.
That was literally the first
Where-
thing
where
my
are the
ear
Huggies?
was.
Where the Huggies?
I don't know where the
I got
Huggies
Huggies.
is. Okay, let's sing it. Do all the singing, boys.
Wait, no, I need the tissue.
Anyone guess what note this is?
What are we doing practice?
Not looking. Not a G. Good guess though. F. It's gonna be in key of F
A through
today.
A.
Ew.
1. Let's just sing the scale. 2. Ready, and. Find yourself a comfortable register for that guy, right? 1, 2, ready, again. Alright, are you okay? Oh, I don't care. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, number 1. Let's try it
Yeah,
again.
thank you.
2, ready, and.
I love we slow down so much. It just got so delicious.
I'm gonna hurt you.
Although it does have
Number 2, minor boys. 1, 2, ready, and. Good. Good. Hey, that was good. Okay. Number 3, 2, ready, and. Not bad.
That was fun. I had one.
Number 4. 1, 2, ready, and.
That was rough.
Sandpaper.
Yeah, good. You guys are getting really good at those. I appreciate it. Okay, get that homework, please. Get homework.
Do you want to check my marshmallows?
We're gonna spend some time on the beaming thing. So that's the one from last time. Cool. Got the one from this time.
I lied to you. It's not over there.
Excellent. Okay. We'll talk about the beaming boy.
Yeah, I don't think I did it right.
That's okay. I wanted you to fight with it. That's all.
A white ball.
I wanted
fought,
you
but did I
to
win?
fight and suffer.
Oh no, I thought you cared about it so much.
Well, it's part of the educational process. Is for you to suffer.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Is it because we're in America? American education system?
Hold on, I have it.
It don't look too good.
This is not the right one. This is the right one.
Congratulations.
Good. Got all
Are those our break?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
that.
Oh, I have two.
let's start with a thing.
Let's start with a brain break.
Let's start with
No.
a right now, brain break.
That's really what
Beaming.
I expected. I expected it to be that bad.
Is it really only day 19?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
You go to Florida.
That means in total we're gonna get to like day 84.
Shut up.
Day 90.
Oh.
Really?
180 days cut in half.
What?
Why is it? Wait. Hold on. 19, 20, 21, 22 times 4. Okay, 88. But where are the 2 extra days?
So they're kind of lumped onto the way the grading scale works at the end of or the way the grading period works at the end of the year. There's 180 days, 180 school days. Hypothetically, it's supposed to be 45 days per grading period, but it's not 100% that.
Gotcha.
Not 100%.
Right, so we have orange and blue. Then we switch out.
Right.
Oh, bo, bo, to, bo, bo, bo.
What?
O, B, O, B, O. It's what Mr. Hankins does in his class.
Oh.
He labels the week, says, all, bob, bob, or, no, it's all, bob, bo, or bo, bob. Huh? I don't know, Mr. Hankins. He's a very strange man. I like him, and I enjoy his class, but he's very confused. Yeah, and we read we read Of Mice and Men, and he says, oh yeah, and Curly keeps his glove full of Vaseline for his wife and starts doing this. I'm not even kidding.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Do you remember
The 21st
the 21st night
Yeah, so
of
this is September,
September?
which I chose. It's got some interesting rhythms in it. It's a great place to talk about some rhythmic stuff.
I just guessed.
So,
Oh.
eat it, keyboard. Eat it. All right.
The ground.
I heard like
The
this.
ground.
So we're gonna take a look at this this line right here for the moment.
Yeah.
So I want you to take a moment and just look at that measure. Don't worry so much about counting exactly what it is. I want you to look and find where beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4 are.
Well, beat one's a rep.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
And when I say beat 1, 2, 3, and 4, I'm not talking about where does it begin. I'm saying roughly speaking, where is beat 1? Where is beat 2? Where is beat 3? Where is beat 4?
Well, beat 1 is in the middle. Beat 4 is at the beginning.
Beat one
So
is in the base.
notice that
Wait, there can do that.
these things are grouped together. What beat is these notes right here?
And a.
No, this
No,
whole
4.
whole mess.
That is
Four.
That whole mess is 4, right?
And a.
Now, yeah, I get it. You know the rhythm. But what I want you to see here is that it's grouped so that you can tell that that's 4, and that's 3, and that's 2, and okay, these things together are probably 1. The beaming is done in a way so that you can visually see, that's beat 1, there's beat 2, there's beat 3, there's beat 4. This is very explicitly written. It's written so that you can tell exactly where each beat is. Now, yeah, the actual rhythm, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1. Easy. But that's not what I'm worried about. I'm looking at how you are presenting it visually. That's the snare part. Yeah.
This may be a really stupid question, but like, okay, so the groups, I understand the grouping and stuff, but if it's a rest, why don't they still put the thingy on it to group it into the one? Like, if
So
it's
there's
right
no real
now-
way to beam rests.
I need to just put a beam.
Yes, you could, but that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
basically.
But like, why if we were gonna group the rest?
You're just, at that point, you're just adding more visual noise. You're adding a lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be there.
I don't know.
Right. A good example of that is this, right? So take a look at this measure,
And 4.
okay? So the reason why why is it that these eighth notes here are not all beamed together?
Because there's rests.
There's rests in between.
The rest.
And if you did that, it changes visually the way it looks.
Yeah.
The advantage of having the little dangling eighth notes, which is what I call those, is that they don't always mean that it's on the and, but it helps you kind of understand that what you're looking at is not on a big beat, it's on the and, right?
They're defined gravity.
So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Correct. And 4. And 4. And 4. It's very syncopated is the name of that. Syncopation means that a rhythm is not on the beat.
I'm gonna write that down.
Absolutely. It's a great idea.
Syncopation.
Oh, what?
I hate syncopation.
I hate-
marching.
I hate-
to play.
I
think
hate
it sounds cool.
syncopation. While marching.
While marching, yes.
Marching and syncopation is the
That's why I'm happy I
Well,
don't
that's
get to
why
do
you're
it.
gonna do the
Oh
and.
god, yeah.
before you
So you have
start
to like march on 1,
What?
2,
So-
3, 4, and you have to play on
And.
and. Oh, God.
Your heels go up, you play
That
the
seems
and.
fun though.
It's really not that. It is, and it's super cool, and like nobody does it. That's why it sucks. That's why I'm glad that we do it.
And that's why we're in bird area.
But it is tightening. Bird
Okay,
zone
does
is being
the-
achieved.
Does
Bird
the
county.
filter actually look really cool? I wanna see it, I
Bird,
can't see
boat,
it.
Oh, it looks
bird,
pretty awesome.
'Cause I can't,
tri-state
see.
area.
Okay, let me find another
spell the
rhythm here
word?
that's doing this.
S
SYNCOPAT.
I-O-N.
Thank you.
Knew it.
Syncopation.
Okay, take a look at this rhythm right here. Now, don't just say it out loud. I want you to see why this is more difficult than maybe it should be. I made a choice in this arrangement of writing like this, but this may not be the right choice.
Am I allowed to make my guess now, or should I?
No, wait a second. Look at it. This is where you get into some gray area here, because I'm technically making this harder than I should. But I want you to look and see.
Why is,
I have an idea.
Just put like eighth notes front, right, and then left.
yeah, why are the eighth notes on the big beat and they're not tight?
See, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay. So, first off, let's clap and count this rhythm. Well, 1, 2, ready, and. 1 and 3, 4 and 2, 3 and 4.
Wait.
Again,
it's the-
2, ready, and 1 and 3, 4 and 2, 3 and 4.
Oh, okay, cause
Because you
that,
wanted the
that
third.
quarter note carries to that third eighth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The
I
second
could
quarter
and probably should have made this into an eighth note tied to another eighth note. Why? You think about that while I go change it real quick, so you can see what it looks like.
Because the.
'Cause that looks
it's got-
scary.
Think about it,
It's
not
got the
talk about it.
accents though.
Think about it.
Because if not, you're gonna accent the eighth and that just looks kinda silly.
I didn't ask you to sing.
This is the exact same rhythm.
It's just you got a tie in there now, that just makes
Yeah,
it
and
look,
that-
heck, a lot more ink.
It is more ink, but
But
it's a little bit
it's-
more to look at, but it does show you,
Brain computes with that. Like,
what does that
Not
show
my
you?
brain.
Specifically, what does it show you?
It shows you that it's on the and it ties across the two.
What is it showing that it didn't show before?
The three.
Not 3.
The
That and.
and.
No.
One.
The two and.
It's showing you 2.
Yeah, the two.
It's showing you exactly that there's 2 right
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Oh,
That was before being obscured
How is it showing you it's 2?
because 1 and 2 and. Right?
That wasn't there before?
Well, see, before it was a quarter note right here. A quarter note is the same as 2 eighth notes, right? But I wasn't showing you that that beat 2 is
Oh.
inside of there.
So what you just pointed at, that and the note above it were not there before you went and changed it?
Correct. I just went and
Gotcha.
changed it.
Gotcha, okay.
Now, the reality is some of this is knowing who I'm writing for, because a lot of knowing what your audience is, and not like the audience who's going to be listening to the group play, but knowing who your audience of musicians are, can dictate how you should write things out. And I know that, like, okay, by the time you're in high school, you should be able to understand syncopation, eighth, quarter, eighth. It's not that big a deal, right? But a middle school kid would probably be super freaked out about that. And if I were teaching this to a bunch of middle school kids explicitly in middle school, I probably would have written it like this and not like this. Just to make it very clear where beat 2 is. So I'm not hiding beat 2, right? Now, in reality, does that make that rhythm any different? No, it's the exact same rhythm.
And that's the whole thing with beaming, is that there are multiple ways to communicate the exact same rhythm. And you want to go with the one that is the most easily understood by the audience, by the people who you're trying to write for. Yes.
So even though there's a bar connecting them,
Mm-hmm.
you would I'm gonna say just the note in like piano terms. You'd press the note and then you press it again once it gets to the next one. But
Correct.
if there is a smiley face, you hold that note out. You don't press it again once it gets to the second.
Correct.
The other,
Yes.
the other eye.
So let me put this in
How do
the
you-
correct musical terms. But yes, you're exactly right. So one and, so you play one and, right? Right? This tie, what you call the smiley face, is a tie, literally ties those two note values together. So you do not re-articulate, you don't push the key again on that and. Right? So one and three, four and two, three and four. You could have, since I have these two eighth notes here, and the value of two eighth notes together is a quarter note, I could just make that into a quarter note, like I did up here. The disadvantage of that is now I'm hiding the beat. I'm hiding beat 2.
Why is it the first one? Why is that and, even though it's really far, it's like
This
almost
one?
at the 2? No, that's 1, right?
This is 1, yes.
And then the second, yeah, that one, that is and.
That's
I
and.
feel like and should be to the left more. Than
Okay, this is where you have to stop thinking about that. The reason why it's done that is because there's other stuff going on above it that it's trying to display visually with more space, so there's more things. Basically, because there's grace notes and crap going on above it.
So how do you know?
It has
which-
nothing to do with the visual spacing. Let me freak you out for a second. Are you ready for a nightmare?
Yes.
Here we go.
Oh, let's see.
Why?
That is the exact same rhythm.
It just looks stupid.
Okay, no, it looks
How do you-
stupid.
How do you know?
But the horizontal, because there's nothing here. There is no other beat here, right? And this is the thing. This is why if you learn tabs early on, this sort of ruins some things for you. It's because tab teaches you that spacing means something, and it doesn't. It means nothing. I had a friend in high school band when we were seniors, and I was okay. And my friend was technically in a higher chair than I was, even though he was way less able to do music, and I was an idiot, so he was even more of an idiot. And I remember him saying, well, I know that this is that rhythm. Well, how do you know it's that rhythm? Because it's all spaced out like this. He was looking at the literal spacing between the notes, exactly what you're talking about, to try to say that that's what it was. The spacing has nothing to do with it. This looks doofy, right? But it's the exact same rhythm. That's still 1, that's still and, that's still 2, that's still
So-
3, that's still 3, sorry, and a 2, 3, 4.
If your melody is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and,
Uh-huh.
it's only on the and. How
One,
do you know
two,
it's and
3.
and not 1?
Sure, that's what you have to show them with, yeah, a rest or some other kind of visual placeholder, right? That's what Tyler did. So where's that one spot?
I have a question.
Yeah, it's like what's exactly what's going on here, right?
And.
So that's on and. You have to show that it's on the and by giving a visual placeholder, an actual rest on big beat 1. That rest is an eighth note, 1/2 of a beat. Then that means that another half of the beat is on the and of 1.
Okay.
So another way of saying this is you always have to have, if you're in 4/4, you always have to have the exact value of 4 quarter notes present in a 4/4 bar. You can never be missing a beat or adding a beat if it's actually in 4/4.
So you couldn't have 7, 8 notes.
Exactly.
with that 8.
Unless you're in 7/8.
Unless
Yeah.
7, 8.
If you're in 7/8, then you can. If you're in 9/8, you can have 9/8 notes. But in a 4/4 bar, you can only ever have 8/8 notes. Period. Never more, never less.
But you can have you can have 4 8 notes and a half note.
But that's the value of 4 quarter notes or 8/8 notes, right?
Yeah.
It's the exact same value of those things. So if you add up every single measure in this entire stupid thing, there will always be 4 beats worth of rhythm inside of each measure. Always.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like an equation.
It is, oh, yes. An equation that you always know what the answer is. It's always 4. If you're in 4/4. Yeah.
How do you slur on a piano?
Yeah, that's a great question. Legato stroke. I'm terrible at demonstrating it, but because I'm a bad piano player.
Because it rearticulates, like.
So I'm technically doing it, okay? Versus.
Oh, you use the
That's your, is that your
pedal?
Oh, so you
That's
just use
legato. This is not legato.
Wait, but you're still hitting it though.
Yeah, but you're holding it over when you're going.
Oh,
And it-
I'm holding the previous note
I hear it.
until I press the next key. Versus,
Okay.
Yeah,
right?
I hear it now.
So how do you do it on the xylo or like?
the exact same way. Legato stroke is, so it's easier to do on a marimba or a vibe than it is on a xylo, because xylo is
You
just
gotta hit
dead.
it. You actually gotta like roll it a little bit.
But on an instrument that has a sustain to it, like that has a natural sustain to it, you let it sound until the next key is pressed.
Okay. I didn't know that's what that was called.
Yep, legato stroke. It's really hard to do on keyboard, like on those kind of keyboards. It's just like really, really hard.
Can't you just use the sustain pedal technically?
You could, but then you have to pedal every single note, and that's super obnoxious. That's a boom, boom, boom. So, and timing that hand to foot in order to have the note speak all the way through is
Hard.
very hard.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I had a but like maybe I'm just whenever like okay, you know like the things to keep like a 9/8, 12/8, but like you still conduct it in the same like major like 2, 2, 3, 4. How do you decide
Yeah, so that's a good question for in a minute when we have those things on your homework. We're still technically going over your homework right now. You just
So
didn't
we're
know
like
it.
getting there.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Okay, so are we okay with the idea that beaming is to try to visually show the performer where everything is?
Yeah.
Are you okay with that as a concept?
As a concept.
Okay.
Nothing more.
Let's see, is there one more? I think there was
Beaming
another
visually
spicy
shows the performer what?
There it is.
With the notes.
Take a look at this rhythm and notice that it has a similar issue.
That makes 1.
It makes one, yeah, this is a correct measure. There is,
Oh, we're not. What are we supposed to be doing?
I was looking at the wrong.
looking at the beaming, looking at the way it's showing you the rhythm. Let's clap and count it. 1, 2, ready, and. 1 and 3, 4, and. Again, ready, go. 1 and 3, 4, and. What's the problem? If there is a problem here, which there kind of is, what is the problem?
No, 2.
It's not showing you where big 2 is, right?
So it just mostly looks like 1 and 2 and.
Yes. And if like a kid who just looked at that might say, oh, that's 1 and 2 and, right?
There's
How do
no
you
there's
know
no
it's not?
rest there to tell you that.
Because beat 2 is hiding on the back side of this quarter
So I have a
note.
question. Why didn't you
It's
just
the exact same thing as before.
do?
You
How do you know?
have to just know that that's the case.
So why didn't you just do like 1 and like with an eighth note? Like this?
Sure, why didn't I make that into an 8th? Yeah.
Yeah, and then and then put a rest
Yep.
in front of the 2.
So let's talk about why. That's a great question.
Because you didn't want. Did you not want the note to carry over, or did
So
you
I could
want
do
it-
that,
Yeah.
right, Reagan?
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
And you're exactly right. I could have done that. This is the exact same rhythm again, now showed a different way. So instead of making this into an 8th note versus an 8th note that's tied across, this is another way that I could do the exact same thing. 1 and, there's beat 2, and 3, 4 and. There is a musical reason why I didn't do it this way.
Because the quarter note carries over to the 2, basically. kind
Um,
of? That-
So it's
Look
like
at-
less. It's like held
what tells you that it's a longer note?
the quarter.
Yes, but there's something else that tells you that. too.
The greater than.
The accent, exactly. This is a long accent,
Okay.
a full value accent. And in order to visually help the performer understand that I want that to be a long note, I made it a quarter note and made it a long accent.
So if you want it to be a long note, why don't you use a greater value note?
If you
you want it to be a longer note, why don't you use a greater value note? Yeah, that's a good question.
Why don't you go from a fourth
A quarter
to
note.
a half?
Sure, because then that changes the rhythm. So if I made this into a half note right here, first off, that would be very visually obnoxious because one and then this note, and half of this note would all be inside of that half note. I'll show you.
Oh. What?
Now this has changed the rhythm. This is now a completely different rhythm. One and four and is that rhythm now. One and four and. And this is really obnoxious. Why is that really, really obnoxious? It does change the rhythm, but why else is it bad besides the fact that it changes the rhythm?
Accented?
That's not why.
I don't like that it's
Because
accented.
there's a big space.
There's a big old space in the
Well, who cares? Again, don't care about the visual spacing here. It doesn't matter. What is being hidden by that half note?
The 3.
Beat 2 and beat 3 are now
It's
hidden.
even worse.
It's even worse, right? So that's like
Got it.
really obnoxious. Yeah?
Okay. So, if that's the case, and you said that you should be able to, if somebody was completely perfect at sight reading
Uh-huh.
and rhythm and everything,
Uh-huh.
Still, how could they know that it's there? Like, if they never heard the song before,
Mhm.
how would they know that it's? Can you go back to what it was before?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Oh, okay.
Because they know the accent.
How do you know the third note is and?
This note right here?
Yes.
So, with practice, and this will come with practice, you visually learn that this is beat 1. The next thing that has to come after beat 1, if beat 1 is an eighth note, has to be what? If this is an eighth note long, which it is, what has to come after beat 1?
And.
It has to be and. If you're counting a bunch of eighth notes, 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. If I say 1, what has to come next?
And.
And. This has to be an and because this is an eighth note. So this is an and. A quarter note has 2 eighth notes inside of it. So that is all of and all of beat 2, big beat 2, which would be right here.
So if you're gonna have, if the one is gonna be an eighth note,
Yes.
there has to be an and. But there can be an and not the 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, because you still have.
there's no 2, but then there's a and of 2, and there's
Uh-huh.
no 3, but there's the and of 3.
Hmm. Let me answer your question like this. This might be of use to you. Okay. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. And. All right. Okay. So we have an eighth note right here. The next thing that has to come next has to be an and. So I'm going to draw our quarter note friend right here. Quarter notes are worth 2 eighth notes. So here's 1, 2 eighth notes.
Oh,
So.
Okay. So then there's our next eighth note right here. And then the next thing we have is a quarter note, which goes right here, directly underneath 3. That takes up 3 and. Then we have 4 and,
oh yeah.
right?
Okay, that
So-
makes sense now.
If you have
First
you ever done
one
any
is
music
always
producing
one.
stuff? Have you ever done any like piano roll, Ableton crap?
Ableton, yeah.
This is the grid. Are you familiar with the rhythmic grid?
Maybe, not really.
Usually it shows up as little tiny squares, and you fill in rhythms to
I
be when the
think
squares where you want to see it.
There's the same thing, but like there's little red dots and lines.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the grid. Right? 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. Every single one of these notes must be present, but not all of them have to be played. Right? 1 and, 2 and, 3, 4 and.
Got it.
So if you here, clap eighth notes. Clap eighth notes. Go. 1 and 3, 4 and. Right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right? So you're not playing this note or this note in order to create this rhythm.
Yeah, I think it makes sense now.
Okay?
Yeah, I think this value is what I got stuck on. How it's
Sure.
worth 2 and it's playing here.
Yes.
I get it.
Okay, cool.
I get it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad that we're on the same relative page. Now let's talk about your homework. Huh? I don't actually. I'm sorry.
Like one little handheld one? No, I don't want to take their pencil.
Give me a second, and I'm going to input the 9/8 one real quick, so we can look at it up on here on the screen.
That's what I thought.
No. Oh, why? You alright today? You okay today?
He's okay.
Can I have my pencil back? Can I?
Oh, I forgot.
Can I have my pencil back?
Oh, you can't. You kept running. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, you really threw it.
It's rude.
You really actually threw it.
I got ricochet. Did you see it?
Yeah, I heard it.
There's a Wendy's in here.
Oh,
I'm gonna
this is
cross
terrible.
you now.
Okay.
Hey Kylie, how do I play flute?
Look up, Katie. What?
How do I play flute?
Your
Oh,
class.
you want me to
goes-
suck him? What do you want me to do?
Scared now?
Nuts in my
Of a
Oh,
little
so
rubber
this
band?
one?
Yeah,
So
and
you're
then
on my
2,
face.
3.
The
No, 2 is represent, yeah, and then 3.
All right.
And then
So,
1, 2, 3.
hey, let's
represent-
worry about flute later. Flute's just a sideways saxophone.
Yeah, that's
Okay. It's literally the same.
No, it's not.
Well, there's like 3 notes that are different. Otherwise, it's the
And
exact
then
same.
flute is
Then you have to do that to it. Okay, give me my pointing stick.
Oh.
Now,
That's an expensive one.
here is the rhythm as it existed in your homework.
Yeah,
This
I
is
don't think I
freaking
did that one.
gross. Now, let's talk, that's mine. So let's talk about 9/8 for a second. How many eighth notes are there going to be in 9/8?
Too many.
In 9/8, there are going to be 9.
There are going to be 9 eighth notes. Now, if we were just going to count them, let's say accurate but not big brained, how would you count
1
them?
and 2 and 3
1,
and
2, 3,
Not-
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We wouldn't want to use ands. Why would we want to use ands?
Because
Too big
the,
brain.
it's
Then
more
it'll be
than
like-
it needs to be. Because the 1 and 2, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is like ands itself.
Okay, I understand where you're at. There's another better answer though. What gets the beat in 9/8?
the down, the 1, 2, 3, 4.
9/8 is good. Could it be?
The beat, the 1.
The T signature or the time signature tells you what gets the beat. What's the bottom number mean?
8.
The eighth notes get the beat, right?
Oh, so
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't want to count them ands because they are the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's it. Now, that's not the best way to count it, but it is an entirely functional way to count it. If you wanted to count 9/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I will make fun of you, but you won't be wrong. Okay?
Quit that.
So it is technically allowable to count it that way. Now here's what might make your brain hurt a little bit. I know that 9/8 is almost always conducted in big 3.
But why?
1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, because 9/8 is what is called a compound triple meter.
But just, no,
Let's
but-
talk about what that means.
But how do you?
Let's talk about what that means. I'm going to teach you. Just pay attention, okay? So we didn't actually talk about this yet. It was in your homework, like the things that you should have read on Monday when I wasn't here. Do you remember what compound means? What does compound mean?
Combine.
Kind of. Do you remember what it means when it comes about like meter stuff?
Monday was a long time.
I understand that.
Well,
You definitely
there's-
read it,
Is
but
there like 2 different?
there is simple and there's compound. What does simple mean?
1, 2,
Oh.
3, 4, like the basic.
Compounds where it lies on not the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, you're all circling the right idea. So simple means that everything is going to be an even division.
Oh.
So if we're in simple duple, 1, 2, 1, 2. You might have 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. You're just cutting everything in half. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Simple duple is like 2, 4, right? Or 2, 2, cut time. 1, 2, 1, 2, right? All those things are simple duple. Easy. Now, or 2, 8. That's dumb, but you could have 2, 8. 2 eighth notes in a measure. 1, 2. Eighth note, right? Or 2, 4. 2, 1. 2 half notes in a measure. 1, 2. 1, 2.
One or two whole notes in a measure, sorry. One whole note, two whole note. One whole note, two whole note. That's super stupid, but it's still simple duple.
So the number on the top is always the amount of quarter notes.
No, not the number of quarter notes. It's always the number of beats. And what gets the beat is what the bottom number is. If it's a 4, then yes, it's quarter notes. So 2-4, there's 2 quarter notes in a beat. 1, 2, no problem. 2-8 means that there's 2 eighth notes in a measure, and each one of those gets the beat. 1, 2. 2-2 is there's 2 half notes in a measure, and each one of them gets the beat. 1, 2. It doesn't make any difference when it comes to hearing them, and that's the important thing. It only makes a difference when it comes to seeing them. This is all about, meter is all about what it sounds like. Time signature is about what it looks like. Okay?
Okay.
Let me say that again, but louder and slower. Meter is about what it sounds like. Time signature is what it looks like. I could write the same rhythm, 1, 2, 1, and 2. I could write that quarter, quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter. Or I could write that half note, quarter, quarter, half. It doesn't, and then just change the tempos and change the time signatures. It's the exact same rhythm, sound-wise, right? If you just listen to it, you would probably default to calling that 2-4, 1, 2, 1, and 2. Easiest to call it that way, but it doesn't have to be that. If I wrote it half note, quarter, quarter, half, that's the same rhythm in a different time signature. But the meter is still the same. It's still simple duple. No matter how you write the stupid thing, it's still simple duple. So it's simple, meaning everything's cut in half, and duple, meaning there's just 2 beats in it. 1, right? How's your brain?
I don't. Yeah.
Okay, now getting to the 9/8 thing, maybe this will make more sense. I know that 9/8 is compound triple because I just know it is. And you will too eventually.
Well,
And I'll tell you why. It's because it's the way that it wants you to beam this. That's the real reason is why, is because of the way that it's beamed in the example. And I'll explain it in a second. But compound triple means that you don't just cut things in half. Compound means you cut things usually into 3 pieces.
Yeah, because like the 9/8 you can do in 3 pieces. Usually you'll do 9, but like the 8 you can only do in like.
In 2, yes. But that's not the reason why.
I know this.
But yes.
Right.
So 9/8 means there's going to be 9 eighth notes, not a big deal. But I know that instead of counting it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you're way better to count one lolly, 2 lollies, 3 lolly. You should feel the triple. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you split it up compound, meaning split into 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. Da, 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 da. Now, why do I know that visually by looking at it? Look at the way it's grouped. Look at the way it's beamed. So,
they all have the little 3.
right.
They all have 3. They all have 3.
Right.
They all have 3.
And they're in a big group of 3,
The rest is right there.
Oh.
right?
Oh, that's why
So
you know. Oh.
visually, that's how I know, is because visually it is grouped
And
in
that's why
big
the
chunks
other
of
one-
3, right?
the
There's a
other
big
one has
chunk,
the 4.
there's a big chunk,
Yeah,
there's a
it's
big chunk with a big beam,
No, I'm talking about 12/8.
right?
Oh, sorry.
So I know visually that it wants me to think
thought
of
you
this
were looking at
as
3, my
being
bad.
1, this to be 2, and that to be 3. My pencil's busted, whatever. So it's fine. So do you see that there's a big group of 1, a big group of 2, a big group of 3?
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay? That's how I know that it
Oh,
wants this
clicking.
to be compound triple.
Got it.
Bro, it's clicking now.
Okay?
Oh my God.
Again, this, I'm going to say it again. We are trying to take meter, a thing that is just all about sound, and we're trying to visually represent that rhythm with a time signature. Okay? I know that 9/8 should sound like it's compound triple. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. How do we make it look like it's compound triple?
Group it in 3.
Group them in sets of 3. Look how busted this is, because what is this grouped as?
4.
It's grouped like it's in 4.
So
right?
that's why you have to.
That's why-
Oh, I did it
Now,
wrong.
this isn't wrong because this still has the value of 9 eighth notes in
But
it.
you can't tell that. It's
But you
in-
can't visually tell
Yeah.
that it's supposed to feel that way.
That's what
That's the meter,
you
exactly.
can't tell what the meter is because of the way that they wrote it.
Yes.
It was grouped in
So here's the thing. The way that it looks will impact the way that people play it. And if you want them to feel it and play it with the correct meter, you have to visually represent it the right way. Clip that. Tattoo it on your forehead. Okay.
Quarter, quarter.
Christopher,
16,
how's your brain?
8. 2 8.
Seems like you're having a great time, buddy.
Quarter, quarter, quarter.
So let's talk about some ways that we should have done this. Okay? So first off, how the first sin here is that each beat is supposed to have 3 eighth notes in it in 9/8. And what do we immediately have done goofed here? Or are you giving it a quarter? That's a big problem. Where-
It's gonna be 1 3 now.
Well, let's do this not in 9/8, like each 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's think about this in big 3, so triplet. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. Okay? This is 1. What is that? That's coming on the lee of 1, right? But it doesn't look like it's coming on the lee of 1. It looks like an utter nightmare.
How do you do a triple accent?
A triplet
I mean,
accent?
not accent, triplet.
In this case,
Oh.
you don't have to, it's just an eighth rest. So, let's look at this. What if I did this?
Wait, no, hold on, give me 1 second.
Stop, maybe?
It's on the Lee.
Okay, it is on the lee. So here's 1. If I put a rest here,
You rest on.
have I changed the rhythmic value here?
No, you just made it a little bit easier
I made it easier to see because now this is beat 1. These two together are beat 1. Here's the beginning of beat 2. Look, there's the beginning of, or there's an eighth note. There's an eighth note. These right here are beat
to see.
2. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's 2. Lee, late,
What? Late?
Oh, because it's 6.
it's a
Oh, it's
16th
one
note,
thing.
right?
Wait, why did you put the rest where you put the rest?
Because it's showing the.
Where beat
Sorry.
2 is.
Sorry. Why did you put the rest as an 8th rest?
Right.
So 2 la late?
So this was hiding big beat 2. This quarter note, big beat 2 is inside of this. If I split those into 2 eighth notes,
Okay.
right?
Got it. Yep, okay.
Now I could make, instead of making that a rest, I could make that a note, right? I could do that, and then I could tie it together,
Yeah.
right? And that's also the exact same thing, but visually I think that looks worse.
Well, if you're tying it to the one thing, couldn't you just.
I would rather do it like that.
Da-da.
And rhythmically, it's the exact same. But now we have, here's our beat 2, or beat 2 is these 4 notes, eighth note, the value of an eighth note, just split in half,
Which is, yeah.
2 16th notes, and then dotted eighth,
8th, which is 3/16
Uh-huh.
plus the 1/16,
Ta.
which is a quarter,
lee.
and then an 8th.
Yep. That is the correct answer.
Why is it
I did not.
3/16 and then 1/16? And not just,
Yeah.
Good question. So, there's an eighth note, okay? So beat 3 has to have 3 eighth notes in it. 3 la lee, right? 3 la lee. There's lee. A dot, remember, takes half the value. It kind of steals half the value from this eighth note. It steals half of an eighth note from this one. It turns this guy into a
but
16th.
it still is held out though, right?
Uh-huh. 3 to lee
Keep it.
is how you count that. So it's rhythm. 1, 1 lee, 1 la, yeah. 1 lee, la lee to 1. Sorry, 3 to lee. Whew. 1 lee, lee.
What's ta?
Ta is right here.
So
Oh,
it- it's
16. Right. Can you tap it, but clap one lolly. Can you say
One
one
lolly,
and then
two lolly, one lolly,
like-
two. Yep, I can.
Yeah.
One lolly, two lolly, one lolly, two lolly, one lolly. One, two.
Okay.
That's the rhythm.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. How are your brains?
Great.
I'm just
Well,
not
you
good
see, I
with rhythms.
Okay.
Well, my brain feels better because it clicked why it's written like that, but
Okay.
now it's mush.
Okay, I get it.
I'm getting it more.
Good. Let's do the next one.
Oh,
Because the next one's super easy.
well, it's in 4.
After the homework.
Let me put it in and then we'll take a break. After we
Okay.
get. I was casually changed time signatures.
Wow.
No big deal.
Yeah, it's 4-4.
Don't worry about it,
Like
everyone.
4-4.
Yeah, 4-4 is great.
Oh
Oh,
god.
that's a good 4-4.
God, two tick.
Da, da.
Ready for God.
Our solos are 2 too. Oh,
No.
why?
Then don't.
Literally, why?
I really don't.
I don't like what.
Really funny.
Oh my god, Elijah said it.
I think I did it wrong.
I think you
Oh,
too. I think
I'm
it
dead.
was
I can't do
Kuwait.
theory.
We're gonna get him.
I don't think he puts them on.
He does.
He does?
Yeah, those are on YouTube.
Oh, wow. Chris following.
You should get that on video. That's actually not that bad.
Yeah. Oh God, it's so gross.
Is that 4 on the E? That's 4 on the E, isn't it?
Given said he's dead, so we can't do theory anymore.
Yay!
Okay,
This is a lot of information.
this is disgusting. This is just visually nightmare fuel.
Like my
Because
mama.
where are the beats inside of here?
No.
There's
The correct
somewhere-
answer is hell if I know. I don't know. They're in there somewhere.
Well, I know you know. No, you know where the 4 is because that one.
I can see
Well,
one.
that's not 4. That's an E. That's E of 4.
Then where's the 4?
It's in that freaking 16th of rep.
How is it there?
That's yeah. She's right. That's 4 right there.
No.
Yeah.
That's right.
Uh-huh. Welcome.
Now,
Percussion.
let me just make a little copy of this boy over here for us to make it better. Let's start with where the problems are, and the problems start right here.
Is that?
Look right there. Why that's a problem?
It's supposed to be.
Because that 8th note is actually hiding inside of it.
Yeah.
What?
2.
Beat 2. If I just made this into a 16th, oh look at that. Oh wow. Into another 16th note tied to it.
Wow.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's.
Wait.
Which one
I thought
is
you died.
this?
We're doing number 3. Now, the way that Sibelius wanted to badly beam it is different than the way
Yeah.
they wanted to badly beam it. It's the same rhythm. It's just Sibelius's bad beaming is different than this thing's bad beaming. It is. Just look at this. Okay, don't worry about that. Look at this.
Can you play it? I would like to do that.
Once we're done with it, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let me show you what I did again, just so we're all on the same page. Okay, look at this 8th note. Let's cut that 8th note into 2 16th notes. How about it?
Boom.
We've done it. Wow. Now to make sure that it stays the same value, we'll tie. All right. 1 and a. Now we've got big beat 2 is showing.
One and
There it
a
is.
and Is that
E,
E,
okay.
okay.
And look, basically everything else just locked into place. E and a. There's big beat 3. Then E.
One and a.
Now, if I were being super pedantic, I would probably do something like this, just to make my brain feel better.
That's what I did.
No.
I
That's
mean,
the only reason I found it was the E was because of the 8th note.
because the 8th rest, yeah.
Yeah, because then I was like, oh, well, then you just take the and off.
You got that big percussion brain though,
Yeah, well, I love my big percussion brain.
as you
yeah.
should.
Wait, why did you put the dot instead?
Just because it visually takes up the rest of that measure, and it makes it easier for me to visually understand that that's 4. Because then I don't have to look at this and be like, what is happening? What is this? I just say,
That's 4. That,
cool,
that,
there,
My brain.
that's E, there's 4. This is the same rhythm. 1 and a E, E and a E.
E. It's a cool rhythm.
Why does it sound like something?
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da. That's Shofukan. It's
Yeah,
almost
that's-
Shofukan rhythm.
That's what I was
Almost.
thinking.
One and E sorry, one and E and
Are we gonna get
Imagine doing a
Shokukan
snarky
back
puppy
out?
marching band show.
Oh,
I've seen it.
you have.
I've seen it.
Man,
Huh?
Can we get Shokukan back out?
So that is the correct answer to number 3.
I'm really happy you don't take this for accuracy.
Yeah,
Me too.
it's not. This is the learning. This is us doing your homework. I need you to fight with it. Okay. All right. Do you wanna break?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
I've got
You're not gonna do nothing.
I got 2 nice brain breaks for you actually. I love both of these pieces.
I have Spanish after this.
We have a Horton chapter
Horton's- Okay, you win.
exam number 2 that could literally make or break
Let's
us.
do this one first.
I have a C in there. Actually, I have a C plus in there right
I failed
Yeah, it could
his,
literally make
I
our-
failed one of his tests.
I have.
But he curved it. So when it's
now.
like
That last quiz
Yes.
raised my grade.
So
Raise my grade
this
by 1%.
is another. I mean, I feel like I say this every time I play somebody's thing. This is another one of my favorite musicians in the whole world. Her name is Rhiannon Giddens. She has an interesting backstory. If, Christopher might have seen some stuff from her before because I played at Music History last year. But as
All
a
I see is a hand.
right, well, you'll recognize her in a second.
Okay.
But as a college kid, she went to Juilliard and got her full degree in opera performance. So she started as an opera singer and then said, I don't think I want to do that. So she moved to the Appalachian Mountains and learned about basically old-time string band music and the roots of Appalachian folk music and blues and like all the good old stuff.
I teach 7th grade.
Learned how to play banjo and fiddle, basically retaught her voice to no longer sing like an opera singer and instead sing like a folk musician. So she's a hugely highly trained musician who's decided to basically like go feral in a way and like ditch all of the fancy stuff to go instead like learn folk music and like learn it like and be amazing at it. And now is in charge of one of the coolest ensembles in the whole wide world called the Silk Road Ensemble. So the name comes from the Silk Road, which if you know your history, do you know what the Silk Road was?
China. It was
Well,
Trade.
Yeah,
Trade
it got
from
very-
where to where?
China to
Middle. No.
India.
No,
It's not
it
India.
was like
Middle East? No.
To the Middle East, all the way to
like
Europe. It was an overland trade route, and there
I know
actually were
one
some sea
part of
components
it.
of it too, that started in
didn't like go to like
China,
Rome and
India,
stuff.
come through the Middle East, through Eastern Europe and the Middle East,
Yeah.
then into the southern part of Western
It
Europe.
started to be kind of like really dangerous, so because people
I
were
just
like.
realized you
Yeah.
had Barnes last.
Now, what is super cool about this is
You had Barnes last.
musically, this is fascinating. By calling this ensemble the Silk Road Ensemble, you are combining Asian, Middle Eastern, and European musical instruments and traditions together and creating a new thing out of all of those different musical traditions. So Silk Road Ensemble is a group that basically tries to create music that shouldn't exist, but is based on the cross-cultural connections between all the music traditions of those places. It's super rad, and she's in charge of it now, and it's freaking the best. So if you want to like have yourself a weird musical time, go look up the Silk Road Ensemble and listen to some of their stuff, because it is like bewildering. But this is just a good old-fashioned American folk song, and boy is it good. So this is her singing and playing fretless 5-string banjo, clawhammer style banjo. And there's an accordion player who's just kind of doing some drone things. There's a song called Wayfaring Stranger, which she did not write. It's an old folk song. But oh boy, is this a good one.
I am a poor wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world alone. There is no sickness, toil, or danger in that fair land to which I go. I'm going home to see my mother. I'm going home, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I'm just going over home. I'm just going over home.
Thoughts?
I like the runs she had.
At the end? Yeah. It's very pentatonic. What do you notice about what she's playing on the banjo here?
It's very repetitive.
It's not even very repetitive.
It is the same
It's the
thing.
exact same thing over and over again. This is one of my
I'm
favorite.
a fool with the string.
She doesn't really move her hands.
Right.
Like anything. She's just playing like the
open
bass.
Traveling
strings.
through
Now,
the
this is one of my very favorite things musically. I just freaking love this. And this is a thing that, you know, in your own compositions and in your own writing things is a thing you should definitely exploit. Because, man, what is it like? How did you feel once it got going into that pattern? What did it like emotionally make you feel?
You know, like you could feel like the tang and like her voice was just, you could definitely feel it like moving.
Yes.
I don't know. It's very
Her voice felt powerful.
It feels more powerful, and there's something magical about the idea of there being a static thing. Like, this is why people get like super into ambient and trance music and stuff. Is because like it's that repetitive thing that never changes. And like what you do on top of that never changing thing is what is interesting. And especially since like there are chords that are implied by what she's singing. And like the accordion occasionally does actually change
Oh
chords.
yeah, he played that the C or whatever.
Mhm.
I think it was a C.
But that unchanging aspect of it makes it seem, draws you in. And like, I don't know, for me it always thinks like, yeah, the world does not change in a lot of ways, but what you sing and do on top of that unchanging thing brings different emotions around, brings about different ideas, different concepts. I don't know, there's something about that I just freaking love. And different versions of that song do it completely differently, but this is by far my favorite version of the song because it makes it feel so much sadder and more lonesome in a way.
The Appalachian was like you're completely isolated and
Yep.
secluded up there.
Right.
And that's like a major component.
It feels like that right away, doesn't it? You feel,
you feel like you're in that time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just great. I just freaking love it. So this next one is also her, but it's about as different of a thing as you can get.
He's so quiet.
Shimmer da hiram yemi him jemi punish. Shimmer da hiram yemi him pussy. Shimmer da hiram yemi him jemi punish.
Just focus,
Shimmer
person.
da hiram yemi
Scrub.
him pussy. Ivi ivi uvi avi to want to body honey. Ivi ivi uvi avi to want to body. Don't do it, don't leak noch in tode modi chanik. Don't do it, don't leak
What's the
noch
meter
in
here?
tode morek. Don't do
Feel like
it, don't leak noch in tode modi chanik. Don't do it, don't leak noch in tode morek.
Okay, feels like 4/4.
To mancho
And
bodi
it is-
chanik.
I'll stop just for a second. So it feels like 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, bum, bum, bum. But what else? Is it simple or compound?
It's
Compound.
compound for sure. 'Cause she's
Bum,
not
ba-dum,
even-
ba-dum, ba-dum. It's not an even division, right? It's not dum, bum, 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 bum. 2 and 3 and 4.
1, Li 2, Li 3, Li 4, wum, ba-dum, ba-dum. So this is probably what time signature?
It's
It's a quadruple compound meter.
12/8.
It's probably 12/8.
One moment. Here's what I.
Now, there are other ways you could think about this, but the easiest is probably 12/8. 1, so 1, 3, 4, sorry, 1, 3, 4, bum, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, Li 2, Li 3, Li 4, Li 1, Li 2, Li 3, Li 4, La, Li 1, Li 2, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-da, ya, ba-da, da, ba-da, da, ba-da, da, 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 da. So understand what I just did there. I took a thing from the way it sounded, meter, to the way that you would write it, time signature, 12/8. I want to back this up because this gets real funky. Man, I freaking love this. By the way, she's singing in Gaelic,
Yeah.
so this is
So
all
she-
in Gaelic. Yeah.
Does she understand what she's saying?
Yeah.
Do they understand?
Yeah. No. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. This is a Gaelic tune. That's about to get.
Shimmer da hiram yemin him punish. Shimmer da hiram yemin pussy. Shimmer da hiram yemin him punish. Shimmer da hiram yemin pussy. Evi evi uvi avi the lunch of all the honey. Evi evi uvi avi the lunch of all Don doen don liegen noch in tode modig hanik Don doen don liegen noch in tode modig Don doen don liegen noch in tode modig hanik Don doen don liegen noch in tode modig Ivi uvi avi do mancho modig hanik Ivi uvi avi do mancho modig En smaken fibere se heen stridi modig hanik En smaken fibere se heen stridi modig En smaken fibere se heen stridi modig hanik En smaken fibere se heen stridi modig Ivi uvi avi do mancho modig hanik Ivi uvi avi do mancho modig Kimmer in die meer dan te gira, kimmer in die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, kimmer in die meer rille vaja, die meer dan te gira, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, ja man prinja kre, klimmi, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, ja man prinja kre, klimmi, kimmer in die meer rille vaja, prinja kre, klimmi, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, ja man prinja kre, klimmi, kimmer in die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, kimmer in die meer rille vaja, die meer dan te gira, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, kimmer in die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, ja man prinja krijgt die, prinja ba man hoppe, ja man prinja krijgt die, kimmer in die meer rille vaja, ja man prinja krijgt die, prinja ba man hoppe, ja man prinja krijgt die, kimmer in die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, ja man prinja krijgt die, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, ja man prinja krijgt die, kimmer in die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, die meer rille vaja, kimmer in die meer dan te gira, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, ja man prinja krijgt die, ja man prinja ba man hoppe, ja man prinja krijgt die, kimmer in die meer rille vaja.
So freaking good. So how else? Until that moment, how else could you tell what the time signature was? There's some other ways that you could figure this out.
The one dude in the back with whatever the heck he had in his hands.
You know you're about to get tore up when there's a dude in the back who's just playing bones, which is what those are, by the way.
Like actual.
They're literally cow bones or pig bones or chicken bones. There's a history to why those are. That Yep. So let's talk about.
Is that the da da? Is that like the?
There's
I
some
don't know
rhythmic
what you
or there's some harmonic stuff that's interesting here too. But know the actual instrument that the guy is playing is called the bones. So this is where I have to give a little bit more historical context to this. So a slight foray into music history class, as opposed to music theory. Appalachian music, basically country music, bluegrass, what people think of as old country, is a weird hybrid of a whole bunch of stuff. It is Celtic, it's extremely Celtic, okay?
They were traveling through the Appalachian whenever they were making this.
The potato famine
Yeah.
basically happened in the British Isles, and everybody got the hell out of England, out of the British Isles, and England didn't make it any better. And they moved to a place that was geographically very similar, the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, so all of a sudden, lots of Scottish and Irish people ended up in that area. You had a whole pile of black people, either former slaves who ran away or freed people who got out of slavery but then said, screw this. And either right before the Civil War and all the things with Creoles and stuff in New Orleans, a whole bunch of stuff there. But a whole bunch of people said, screw this, run to the mountains. Okay? You had a lot of German immigrants who were coming from Germany to escape German unification. Bismarck and all the other crap that they didn't like doing. They also all moved to a place where they could just stay away from everybody. The Appalachian Mountains. And all those people were just there with nobody else around them for like 150 years. And what popped out the other side? Country music. And like country music is an exact blending of literally all that stuff. The band that Rihanna Giddens had before she was doing the Silk Road stuff was called the Carolina Chocolate Drops, who are also super freaking rad. And their entire existence was to go back through and learn all of these old mountain songs that were in Gaelic, that people are still singing in Gaelic. People in the Appalachians, Western Kentucky or Eastern Kentucky and West Virginia, all those places, there's still people who are learning songs and languages they don't understand, because the tradition in Appalachian folk music is to learn music by just listening to somebody sing it to you until you can learn how to sing it. That tradition comes from British Isles, where, I've been to a pub in the middle of Scotland where I heard people singing songs that have been sung in that pub for hundreds of years. No one outside of that area knows those songs. The only way you learn them is by learning them from the person who sang them to you when you were sitting in that pub listening to them. And you learned the songs from them, and then eventually it became your turn. No, I just sat there and absorbed and was very happy. Yay. I don't understand what's happening, but God, this is amazing.
All that
Good
history
times.
of country music, and now we have Dan and Shay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is why,
So
this is what
sad.
breaks my heart about, the typical bro country stuff. Because like older country, even though people may not like it very much, it's much closer to its roots with this. Because all those people, by the way, all had to pick up and leave their home and escape sadness and tragedy. And they wrote songs that are about running away from home and escaping sadness and tragedy. And like all of the heartbreak and still finding joy out of all that stuff. Just from completely different traditions. Oh, I left all my family back home in the old country. Oh, I was brought here as a slave. Oh, my country over there is filled with horrible monsters. Let's go run away to the mountains and sing some songs.
Now it's, oh, this girl doesn't like me back.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so like
Don't get me wrong, I'm not
wimpy
like
and
hating on it. I can listen to that, and I think a lot of their songs are just pop country songs.
exactly.
in
It's
general,
poppy.
and catchy.
It's yes.
Yeah, but it's
catchy
not
as
country.
poppy. But it's
It's
not
not
country, and that's exactly the
It
thing.
makes me sad because, like, I don't know, I feel like country music's been like I don't
Willie
know,
Nelson,
like, old
Johnny
country-
Cash, Dolly Parton,
I love Dolly
Loretta
Parton.
Lynn, right? That's it. And basically what her whole thing was with that group, Carolina Chocolate Drops, is that most people assume, though, that country music is inherently white music. And it's not. And it's not white music or black music. It's just sad people music, right? And it came from people from lots of different places in the world who had tragedy and sadness. And her whole thing was, shut up and stop it. Let's learn about the real history of this. The banjo is an African instrument. The banjo is directly related to the akonting, an instrument that exists in the Gambia. It was brought in concept by slaves to America. They didn't bring the instrument with them because, they're slaves.
they brought I remember this instrument that looked like this and sounded like this. Let's see if we can figure out a way to build it here with the crap that we've got here.
Do you know what they used to build them with?
Gourds. Yeah, and you can find modern day accountings. They're still instruments. And guess what they sound like? Banjos. Why? Because the people who built the banjo came from Mali and the Gambia and Senegal, where those instruments existed, because they were slaves taken from that part of Africa. So like, duh. And people think that, oh, banjo, that's like, that's a white trash instrument. No, first off, no instrument is like that. Good Lord, you're a monster. But second off, you don't know any of the history of it. That instrument is an African instrument by its very nature. So like, pointing out things like that is her entire thing. Well, why did she learn how to sing in Gaelic? Because guess what some of that music is in? And the only way to learn what the song is about is to be able to know the language enough to be able to understand it.
So then there's African like country songs.
Oh, of course there are. Of course. Old-time string band stuff. And like that is, and people's minds get melted when they think about, oh God, wait, there's African American versions of bluegrass? No, there's no African American versions of bluegrass. Bluegrass was partially African American. End of story. Because that is the history of that music. So like her singing this and then adding very blues inspired runs and stuff at the end of it, that's not a like creative choice. That is a historical choice for a black woman to be singing in perfect Gaelic and then still be singing Gaelic, but then bring in blues influence into it is telling a historical story, not just doing it a certain way. It's a completely different thing. And that's why I freaking love it so much. And also, it's just really cool. The bones, y'all. It's about the bones. Which, by the way, let me show you that moment again.
Gira kimereni mi lavoya kimereni mi andam se gira amo prinja ba mo hot kimereni mi andam se gira kimereni mi lavoya ni mi andam se gira amo prinja ba mo hot na amo prinja pere mi amo prinja ba mo hot na amo prinja pere mi kimereni.
Those are probably dried cow bones. So,
is there like 4 of them and then
like 2 on a hand. They're like castanets.
Okay.
But how you make these is, what you do is get yourself a dead cow.
Oh, wait, what is it? Hold on.
You cut off one of its legs, probably.
Okay.
You clean them up, dry them off, throw them up on your roof for a couple of years for the sun to bake them, and then go up on your roof and grab them off there and they go clickety-clack real good. The bones,
Why not
y'all.
just play the spoons at that point?
Oh, you could. The spoons is also a traditional Appalachian instrument, but the bone sounds cooler.
Yeah.
Like, do you hear those things?
They're cool.
They sound freaking awesome,
It's just
right?
like it
Prendi mi lavoya prinja pere mi amo prinja ba mo hot na amo prinja pere
That's such a weird sound.
prendi mi andam se gira ni mi lavoya prendi mi andam se gira amo prinja ba mo hot prendi mi andam se gira ni mi lavoya prendi mi andam se gira.
And you know you got a good blues man here when his only job is to sit and play the tambo.
Yeah.
That's the kind of raw tambo power everybody
You
needs
know
in their
what
life.
makes me really upset about like people like playing tambo? Like, it just-
Because there's
middle
a
class-
thing to
there's-
it.
there-
And like you can be good at it. Like not like
Prinja ba lavoya prendi mi andam se gira prendi mi lavoya ni mi andam se gira amo prinja ba mo hot prendi mi andam se gira prendi mi lavoya prendi mi andam se gira amo prinja ba mo hot amo prinja prendi prinja ba mo hot amo prinja prendi prendi mi lavoya amo prinja prendi prinja ba mo hot amo prinja prendi prendi mi lavoya prendi mi andam se gira ni mi lavoya prendi mi andam se gira amo prinja ba mo hot prendi mi andam se gira ni mi lavoya prendi mi andam se gira amo prinja ba mo hot amo prinja prendi mi amo prinja ba mo hot amo prinja prendi mi lavoya.
So just literally walking down the scale with it. But the reason why that sounds so cool and so effective is notice what he does before here. They're trying to, they're bringing more energy into it, right? They're raising the tension of the song as it goes. And they did that by bumping the tempo and then adding all the percussion instruments in. But now, okay, she's already singing full out almost. You think she's singing full out, but still she starts belting. So how can the band add more energy into it? Well, let's the bass player do it.
bum, 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 bum. They're way up. They've taken the bass from being super low and they put it way up high. What does a bass sound like when it's up high? Does it like being up there?
No.
It doesn't sound natural. It sounds really like tension, right? And so it has, like, even if you're playing it well, it has that to it. You may not be consciously aware of it, but it makes it feel like, this is gonna break. It's like a string being over-tightened. Now we need another gear to go to. So the entire thing is just a constant ratcheting of the tension, right? Until it literally is like, oh, too much, over, done. And it's freaking awesome, right? Yeah, absolutely. Brianna Giddens, she's amazing. So, that's where we're going to leave that for today. I had a homework assignment for you, but we need to continue to talk about meter and stuff. And I didn't get to talk about harmonic rhythm, so we'll leave that for next time, okay?
Oh, let me know homework on last week. Alright, you.
Oh, you know.
Does this mean we're still doing that test Thursday? Okay, bye. Yeah, I got mine. Dude, Kevin.
You missed the brain break.
My hands are getting warm in. So
Yes, you always surprise me with how tired you are.
What time is it?
We have like half an hour.
We have like 30 minutes. Check. No homework. Do it. No balls. You won't. Oh yeah, we should probably stop
you
recording.
want to know what we did all of the time?
have none.
I don't know how to stop
did.
recording.
Just, no, you should just
We
leave it.
colored a page for half an hour, and then we went and played a Blicken about the Reconstruction of the Civil War. Yeah, and I got there.
Hi,
Was like,
ignore
response.
me. I'm trying to. How do you? No. How do you zoom? Don't tell me. I remember.
I use my middle name for this one.
It'll come to me. There's a button. No, doesn't have. There is a
See,
button.
people think
Hi, I'm trying to learn your camera without being told.
Kaylee.
Let's stop recording at least.
L-I.